What's going on? How everybody doing, man? We back at it. Another episode of Water Break with the Guard Whisperer. Today I got two on my right hand, man. That's why I got them to the right. Coach H, tell them something about yourself real quick. H,
I'm
not
H.
too long.
I've worked with O probably about 7 years. Can't complain.
And then we got my man, Coach Tony. We call him OG, Baby Oil Daddy. Tell them a little something about yourself, dog.
This is my fourth month with the Guard Whisperer with Olin and Harrison. And yeah, that's where we at with it right now.
Man, so today I don't really have any topics off the cuff, but you know, we are in the middle of NBA season, youth basketball, so I figured at some point in this conversation, I wanted to bring y'all on just so I can have some dialogue to talk about. Coach, man, where you see the difference from, tell them about your brother first, so then we can, you know, you worked with your brother a little
I worked
quickly.
with my brother. He played, I want to say, 7 years in the NBA, Wright. We played AAU ball together, came up through the circuit, the Adidas circuit. Just little details is mainly what I focus on. I try to focus on the details, the footwork, the small things, kind of like a counter to what Coach does in the dojo, and just piggyback off what Harrison and J-Bar do on in the morning during the school. But that's pretty much, you know, what I'm about, just the details and the little small fundamentals of the game.
Right. I got a question for you. You know, you're kind of like in my age bracket. What's the difference you see in today's kids versus when you was working with your brother and he was growing up hooping? Because I know you spent a lot of time with him, and I think you said you was with him when he was with the Mavericks as well. So what's the biggest difference you see in today's youth versus when you started with your brother?
Difference, I would say, is the determination and the grit. You know, just being able to just have a purpose every day and not get lost in like social media or anything like that to distract you from what it is that you're out to do. I think the biggest thing I see is like just focus and determination, grit.
Well, how would you define grit? What's your definition of grit? Nothing too long.
Just something, people that can go through adversity and still show up. You know, when you don't have a good shooting day or a good work day, you still come in and give 110%, and you know, just have some intestinal fortitude. You know, something you can dig deep in and just still bring what you bring every day, 110.
Now that's very important, because it goes back to one of our previous episodes when we were talking about today's kids and parents. Parents is a big part of that, how we raise our kids. So a lot of people think grit is this outwardly physical thing, and grit to me isn't that. It's what he just stated, an internal fortitude, the ability to deal with adversity, the ability to deal with hard coaching, the ability to deal with missed shots, the ability to deal with a loss. How do you bounce back? And so I noticed, why do you think, I have my answers, so I'm bringing you guys on. Why do you think, you can answer too, because you're one of the younger guys, so we'll probably have two different answers. Why do you guys think that's something that's lacking in today's kids?
So, in my opinion, I think the reason that it's lacking is, one, parents are so quick to blame other people for their kids not being tough, especially being in the AAU space. I think that's a really reoccurring thing where they won't see the 4 turnovers that Johnny made, but they'll see the 5 missed shots that Timmy missed, right? And I think that's a main thing, as well as not only did transfer portal start a lot of this, but the reclassing, which I'm personally a fan of, but I think also people jumping from high school to high school to high school, AAU program to AAU program to AAU program, trainer to trainer to trainer, instead of, there's just no loyalty with any of this. And I think that goes to the part and aspect of grit. And I think it's all a full circle of problems that lead to children not having that grit, that level of toughness, because they know, let's say, Karen and Kevin are gonna bail out Timmy, right? So I think that's just how I look at it.
There's a lot of good points that you just stated. One of the biggest things is that we don't let our kids sit in adversity, right? Like, there's always the option to jump around, and what we're not teaching our kids is that it's okay to fail. We can't bail them out from failing. So in the AAU space and youth sports in general, what has changed since I've grown up, I remember, because I was a big kid, I was this size at 12 years old, so I was always playing 2-3 years, really wasn't even 2-3 years up. If you was in elementary, you played on the elementary team. So if you was in first grade, you made the team, you playing with 5th, 6th graders. If you're in junior high, you made 7th grade, you play 8th, 9th grade. So in elementary, there was a couple years I didn't play. I was this big, made the team early. There was no my mom pulling me from that team to find another team. There was no, and then when we played park, you used to play the park more. There was no emptying the bench every 5 minutes. Now sports, parents, we pull our kids from failing. You know, we think our kids deserve to play, whether they're good, they're not good, whether they attend practice, they don't attend practice, just because they're paying for that coach or that training or what have you. But when it comes to teaching your kids to fail, we bail them out way too much. And so we don't realize what we're doing is we're hindering our kids' development. So if he's not doing well with team A, let's go to team B. If he's not doing well with team B, let's go to team C. You'll see kids on the circuit constantly jumping around. And the common denominator is that kid. It's not the 6, 7, 8 programs your child played for. It's your kid bouncing around, and families don't realize what you're teaching your son. One of the biggest things you say that is lack of loyalty. 2, it's okay not to fight. If you're with a coach, and most coaches, I will say this since I've been doing this, most coaches, I think, I wouldn't say most, let me take that back, I could be wrong. There is coaches out there that really care about the player, care about the well-being, care about the development. But that doesn't mean that because I don't play your child or that coach don't play, we don't care for him. He may not be at the level that he should be playing right now, and that's okay. But we have to accept that, and the problem is we don't. So what we do, we leave, or we cause issues, or we say the coach don't like my kid, as opposed to say, my son just isn't as good as player B, C, D, and E. And that's one of the biggest things that I think that's missing today. It's okay for your son to deal with some adversity. It's okay for him not to be as good. Just teach him outwork. Wake up at 5 a.m. Like we have 2 kids right now that Coach Harrison's working with that's coming to school coming here at 5, 6 a.m. before they go to school. High school kids. And that's not the thing anymore. We used to wake up before school, stay after school, do homework, go back at night. Kids will work out one time a day and think that's enough. And that's the same kid that's not playing that much to think I should be playing. No, learn how to outwork your counterparts as opposed to expecting you need to play just because you're on a team.
Biggest thing I would say to that too is just the why. Like, you know, it is if you're in it because your parents want you to be in it, that's not enough. That's not enough fuel for a kid to have on a day-to-day basis, especially if the coach is demanding like you are in here. It's not easy. You can't come in here and give 50% one day and 100 another day. It's just not going to work. So I would say the biggest thing is a lot of these kids need to have a better why than just their parents wanting them to play a sport. It should go a little further than that, in my opinion.
Nah, that's huge, but I think that goes back to what we originally stated, the grit and other things. If I have to force my kid to go to the backyard, get extra reps up, if I have to force him to go to the YMCA, if I just want him to just go outside on the driveway and dribble, he don't want it bad enough. Mm-hmm. And as a parent, I know that. So if his butt is sitting on the pine and ain't playing that much, you need to address the fact that, well, you're not in the backyard every day. Mm-hmm. You're not on the sidewalk. Not everyone has access to courts, I get it. You're not doing your push-ups every night. What are you doing every day to get past the kid that's playing ahead of you? That's not being addressed at home. It's, like you said, that's very important, having a why, but it shouldn't be my why.
Right.
It should be the kid's why. And what I do know is, as a parent, if my son says he wants something, it's my job to help him get there, but I'm not supposed to push him there. Mm-hmm. Right? If I know my baby got a game coming up and he's not practicing, I'm gonna say, well, You're not going in the backyard? I'll mention it. I'm not gonna force him. And then if he doesn't play that well on the weekend, well, you didn't practice all week, like the last 2 weeks. What do you expect? I'm not gonna go to the coach and be like, yo, my son should be playing. So that's the biggest thing today is we have to change how we make excuses for our kids, once. Two, we have to teach them life lessons before it's too late. You know, I learned years ago, it's okay to make your kid fail in the house, because once they leave the house and they fail, that's real life shit. In the house, they can always bounce back. So that's one of the biggest things, man, is is the accountability, the grit, and the home training. So now that was very important. What else do you think? What do you think we could be doing better to help evolve this game? We're gonna segue a little bit, evolve the game, because right now it looks as if the international kids are coming in, and I would say they're more advanced across the board, but more of them are playing in the NBA. Less and less Americans are playing. And if you look at the last 6, 7, 8 MVPs international, if you look at today's NBA right now, the top 5 candidates currently for MVP, Jokic, foreigner. Luka, foreigner. Shea, Giannis, and Wemby. What is it that we're not doing to make this, to not reverse it, because we do want the game to expand, but why is it happening now at such a high volume, I feel?
I think it's we need to have more team aspect teaching, where it's like it's not individual, it's more sharing. It's not just me, more sacrifice. You know, I think we need more, leadership, accountability situations where, we giving people too much leeway. We need them to step up and hold themselves accountable, I think, a little bit more, and value team instead of I. I think we do a lot of individual, but we should do a lot more team stuff to get them involved, and just trust the process. Trust that it's not we're not playing tennis, okay?
Right.
We're not playing pool.
Right.
It's basketball. It's 5 people out there, so you gotta, sacrifice for the better good of the program and the team. That's what I think.
That's huge. That's huge.
I'm gonna add on that. So when I think about team stuff and what they do in Euro, like across the waters and stuff like that, is they focus on a lot of actions and playing out of actions and knowing every single option. I think in the modern game of the U.S. right now, we focus not only on mixtapes and highlights as so much that it goes to the training where trainers are going to do double between 360 layup, right? And I think just understanding, let's rep out one dribble pull, tween one dribble pull, pass. When do I make this baseline drift pass? When do I make the early hook pass? When do I make the extra swing? What are my reads off of a screen? And understanding how to play with everyone. I think that's something more that would help evolve this game. And I think that we don't do it enough in the U.S., and understanding that. And it's not a one-on-one game. When you look at college basketball as an example, they are running about 15, 20 sets a game, and knowing every single action, every single option off of that is important. And I just think that's a new way of training that we don't do as much compared to what they do in Europe.
I concur, and that's why I've built the staff that I've built, and the coaches that I have, is that's what we do. I'm not going to say that we're the only show in town to do it, but we hold our kids accountable playing the game the right way, and we do our best. It's not going to appease everyone, because at the end of the day, the culture is so stuck on the now. Let's get the highlight tape. Let's worry about being ranked in 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grade, 11th grade. Let's see who scores the most. And one of the biggest problems with that is the advent of social media and obviously the media guys, right? Like, we need to start highlighting defensive awareness, tip balls, assists, And that's something like when we try to do our highlight tape, I've asked our guys to even show some of the defensive stuff. And obviously you want to give our kids the scratch the itch, getting the online content, but no one can come to our game and say we don't play the right way. And we hold our kids, they got to play defense. You know, we're going to sit in the man, we're going to step up, we're going to fight over screens. Offensively, we run sets, we run plays. But it takes more than a select few. It goes back to like even in earlier episodes, someone asked me, how do I get NBA clients? And I said, I didn't get into this to get NBA clients. I got in this to develop youth and be authentic. And then with that same person, they asked, how would you advise a young trainer? Be authentic to the game. When I say be authentic to the game of basketball, you know, you have to be so confident in who you are. Like, I can get an NBA guy and tell him, look, you're player A, you about to go play next to, say, Shea, J-Dub, and Chet Holmgren. You're not gonna get touches. You're gonna sit your ass in that corner and shoot, so that's what we're gonna do all summer. Mm-hmm. I have enough confidence and wherewithal to tell a player, this is what it is. You know, you'll have a rookie come into the league, you're not gonna get the same usage you got in college or you got in high school. You're going to get less, and you need to focus on a couple things. So, one, you have to be confident in yourself. Two, you have to understand it's not about me, it's about the players you're servicing. So it has to change more. And even training, like you guys said, it's an eye thing, it's a highlight thing. The trainers are like that. They want to post highlights of their training. They want to post the tween, inverted drag step, the goofy filet layups and all that bullshit. Yet all they doing is training players out of jobs, training kids out of scholarship, training kids out of opportunities. Mm-hmm. And it's becoming such, and that's the biggest thing. So one for trainers is being more confident in who you are. And two, having standards. Yeah. So like anyone that come and you know, the guy that's filming Snap can attest to this because he does our games, you have to have standards in across the board. If you're gonna have someone come video your game, make sure that some of those clips show exactly what you're talking about, because it's important for families to see, parents to see that you're just not talking about it, you're being about it. So we force our kids to play the right way, do the right things, and anyone in our circle that join our circle, same thing. This ain't about me showing highlights. Right. Ball handling ain't about our media team showing just highlights, right? Showing the kids making the moves, making the right play, the back screen, and obviously we're still gonna have our highlights, it's just part of the game, but show that we're doing it the right way. So, I mean, today, like, it was an open forum, and I just wanted to introduce you guys to our coaches because they'll be on here a lot more, and we just started talking. But those are a couple things that we spit today. We got to take this shit home. Also, look out for our balls. I mean, it's been in production for a while. We got the heavy ball, the guard whisper, you see that? That's mini, and then the big one. Let's tap in. Any outros?
I was gonna say real quick, be a star in your role.
Good outro.
Shit. There's always somebody that wants what you have, so just make sure you keep on working.
And with that being said, we out.